Hi everybody, we are doing quadrilaterals review. There are 4 people in my room who want a shout out. This is it. Okay, quadrilaterals review. The area of a square is 100 square inches. What's the perimeter? So you need to remember that the square has all congruent sides. So if this is x, this is x. So if I were trying to get the area, I would be doing x times x, and that would equal 100. X times x is not 2x, it is x squared. So in order to get that by itself, I take the square root, so x is 10. Now that I know that x is 10, if I want the perimeter, this is 10, this is 10, this is 10, and this is 10, so the perimeter would be 40 inches. Number 2, they give us an angle of a parallelogram, and we need to find the degrees in the remaining 3. So we have 70 here, because these are opposite angles, and these need to add up to 180, because consecutive angles are angles that are next to each other in a parallelogram. If they come from the parallel sides, these would be co-interior, they add up to 180. So this is 110 and this is 110. So they are the 3 remaining angles. The length and width of a rectangle are 15 and 8. So you need to know that you have a right angle there. That's a property of a rectangle that you should know. So from here, we would be doing the Pythagorean theorem. The reason we're doing the Pythagorean theorem is because we have a right triangle. So you would be setting a squared plus 15 squared equal to x squared, because remember the hypotenuse is always c. So there's my right triangle. Okay. When you solve this, you guys know how to solve. You're going to get x equals 17 centimeters. Okay. Diagonals of a rhombus. Big important thing you need to know about a rhombus when it's talking about the diagonals is that they are perpendicular. That's important because hopefully now you see that you have 4 right triangles. So just like we just did Pythagorean theorem, hey, we're going to do it again. So 5 squared plus 12 squared equals x squared. And when you solve this, you're going to get 13. Okay, moving on to number 7. I know these are out of order. It's okay. All right. Given parallelogram ABCD, we have diagonals. Okay, what you need to remember about a parallelogram is if they're talking about the lengths, the diagonals bisect each other. If they're talking about the angles, you're looking for your alternate interior angles. So they're telling us that angle 1 is 78 degrees. Angle BAD, which is this whole thing. So when it's that whole angle there, I like to kind of circle it and put a 60 out here, just so I remember it's this entire piece. It's not this part or this part, it's this whole piece. Okay, so I gotta move on from this. Well, if I know that that whole piece is 60, I know that this whole piece is 60, and then going from the same logic I used up here, I know that the ones that are consecutive have to add up to 180. So if this is 60, this whole thing is 120. Now that I know that this whole thing is 120, 78 and from 120, excuse me, is going to be 42. So you get 42 degrees as your final answer because you're just subtracting at that point. Perimeter of a square whose diagonal is 3 radical 2. So I'm going to first label my picture. They told me it was a square, so I'm going to label what I know about a square. I know that that's a 90-degree angle, and because it's a square, these are 45. I'm not guessing. It's a property of a square that these diagonals are bisectors, so this would be 45 and 45. If you know your special right triangles, at this point you know that your answers are 3 and 3 for all 4 sides. So your perimeter is 12. If you didn't know your special right triangles, you could either use trigonometry, SOHCAHTOA, or you could have set x and x and used Pythagorean theorem. You have a few different options with that one. Number 9, we are given a rhombus. Okay, they tell us that AD is 10, AC, which is the whole diagonal, is 12. When I'm given a diagonal of any parallelogram, I know this says rhombus, but a rhombus is a parallelogram. I don't ever write the whole thing because it just confuses me. I will always bisect it because I know that that's a property of parallelograms. So I'll put a 6 and a 6. Then because it's a rhombus, I'm going to put my right angles in, and now I know that this is a Pythagorean theorem problem because I have a right triangle. So if I'm looking for BD, well, first I need to start by finding one of those pieces. So I'm doing 6 squared plus x squared equals 10 squared. Remember, the hypotenuse always has to be the c value. From here, I would solve and I would get x equals 8. I need to read carefully. With quadrilaterals, you always need to read carefully, but with quadrilaterals especially, you need to read carefully. They want BD, which is 16. They want that whole length. Okay, given rhombus, again, rhombus, MATH, we have 7